Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Plan B here on Twitter. This is getting interesting. If Bitcoin does not close June above the 200-week moving average, which is about $22,000, that would be the first monthly close below the 200-week moving average ever. And so we have 4 days to go. Well, he posted this yesterday, so now we have 3 days to go. That's something interesting that I don't think we have taken a look at. The 200-week moving average on the monthly close. Will it close above or below that number? Here's just a chart demonstrating Bitcoin 200-week moving average, along with a heat map just demonstrating the distance to all-time high for Bitcoin. So the higher it goes, obviously Bitcoin is shown here on the chart as a hotter color. So red demonstrates all-time high, and we slowly are getting up into that as the trend moves higher. So starting in blue as the lowest, and then moving in towards green, yellow, orange, and then finally red. Well, here guys, we're down here hovering along the 200-week moving average. So that needs to close above roughly $22,000. Which would bring the price roughly in and around here. Now we're getting very, very close, as you guys can see. If I throw this on the hourly, just to kind of demonstrate where we are, we're very, very close. So, I mean, even if we are hovering slightly below by a few $100s, I mean, you know, it's tough to kind of pinpoint this with accuracy. Sometimes it happens, and that's always a pleasant surprise. But, you know, we're fairly close. It is June the 27th today. It's my dad's birthday. Got to wish him a happy birthday. And Bitcoin right now hovering at around 21,400. So very, very close to that. And as you guys can see, just with regards to this trend line that I drew over that inverted head and shoulders pattern, Bitcoin did backtest that trend line back on the 25th, and it has remained above that trend line, and it does look like it is moving higher. If we look at it on this micro trend, we can see it is making higher lows. All right, and ultimately it is making higher highs as well. You guys can see that in the trend moving up this way. So that is basically the story for Bitcoin. Has to make it above 22,000, which I think we're going to get very, very close to. This guy's coming from Eddie. The deviation from the 2-year exponential moving average for Bitcoin is currently the second lowest in history. We are currently 49% the 2-year EMA. Whether or not the bottom is in, we are at historically low prices. So just another chart just demonstrating the exponential moving average deviation rate. And we're at 49%. When you compare that to previous rates, 45, negative 43, negative 48, these were other points in time on the Bitcoin chart when we had seen historical lows. So are we at the bottom? Are we very close to the bottom? I mean, I'm very apprehensive to tell anybody that, yes, this is the absolute bottom. It is not going any lower than this. But what I do say as a caveat is, if this is not the bottom, we are very, very close to the bottom at this point. And so, you know, if you guys are interested in purchasing more altcoins, or perhaps you want to get in on a position in Bitcoin, I would start to think about laddering in. If you guys want to make one big fat bet, if there's one type of coin that you want to purchase specifically. For me, I'm looking at Algorand. I think I want to boost up my position in Algorand. This is one of the ones that I wish I had bought more of earlier on. Not to say that the price isn't bad right now. 34 cents for Algorand. Bitcoin, of course, I also want to purchase some more Bitcoin. And as I mentioned in a video I did the other day, I recently just invested in some QBTC, which is similar to GBTC Bitcoin in my retirement savings plan. You can purchase this if you guys have regular stockbroker accounts. Bought it at $27.75. So here we are, guys, getting very, very close to the bottom as it's looking like. We're going to keep an eye on that first monthly close. And will it be below the 200-week moving average? Only time will tell. More news here. Crazy news. Coming from Anonymous, this coming from Michael at Val5 Links. The hacker group Anonymous is working in order to bring Do Kwon, the founder of Terra Luna, to justice. The decentralized international hacktivist group pledged to make sure that the co-founder of Terra will be judged as soon as possible. Ouch! So the Anonymous group just published a video yesterday, guys, Sunday, in which they presented a list of Kwon's wrongdoings. Some of the things mentioned in the video include the fact that Do Kwon cashed out $80 million each month from both Luna and UST. The surprising thing was that this was performed already before the collapse of the whole project. The hacktivist group warned Do Kwon, and here is a quote. Do Kwon, if you are listening, sadly, there is nothing that can be done to reverse the damage that you have done at this point. The only thing that we can do is hold you accountable and make sure that you are brought to justice as soon as possible. And for those of you guys who are looking to watch that anonymous message, the video is linked in the description of this article. From usethebitcoin.com. I will link this article in the description of this video for you guys. Everything, by the way, guys, that I talk about in all my videos is always linked in the description. So if ever you want to kind of refer back to any one particular article, I always link it in the description. It goes on to say, let's not forget that Do Kwon has been working in order to reverse the damage. So that's the other thing. He said that he was going to kind of revamp the Terra Luna project and fork off the initial blockchain to create something more stable, more reliable. But, you know, there are a lot of people out there that are already still criticizing that. Another thing that Anonymous said about Do Kwon is that they are going to analyze Do Kwon's actions since he started working in the cryptocurrency market. They want to learn more about him and the things that he has been doing over the last few years in the cryptocurrency space, as they claim there are many more crimes to be discovered, and that could be linked to Do Kwon. So, when you have Anonymous on your ass, I feel like you probably should start taking life precautions. Damn. I would be very, very paranoid, nervous if Anonymous was sending out threatening videos, was posting threatening videos saying they were going to track me down. I mean, is it justified? He was cashing out 80 million a day, or sorry, 80 million a month before the collapse. And there was also that video, I forget where it was from, but I showed it in one of my videos, where he said that they basically have, what was it, Purple Armageddon? They basically have a kill switch, sell it all, liquidate everything. And this was only months before the collapse that he made this this mention, and he was kind of saying it smugly with confidence as well. I wish I could find that video. If you guys have a link to that, please do post it either in the comments section, or please do tag me on Twitter. I don't know if you guys know, I don't talk about this, but I do have a Twitter if you guys aren't following me. Working Money CH on Twitter. And if you guys are Facebook people, I'm also on Facebook at Working Money Channel on Facebook. So please do tag me, like the Facebook page, follow me on Twitter. This is where you're going to get all your updates. Anyway, curious to see where Do Kwon lands after the anonymous threat. Let's continue moving on. Brad Garlinghouse announces the expansion outside the US if the outcome with the SEC becomes unfavorable. Not going to dwell on this too much. This is just what he said from an interview. The CEO of the financial technology firm Ripple assured investors that Ripple will expand outside the US in case of an unfavorable outcome in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Experts predicted a settlement with the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. However, the legal battle has dragged on without an end in sight, and the key ruling awaited could change the direction of the outcome. Now, I just did a video yesterday with an ex-SEC lawyer who said that if the SEC essentially settles, they will never admit to wrongdoing because legally they don't have to. The only way we are going to get a clear admission of wrongdoing from the SEC is if Ripple does take this to trial. And so I suppose there is an argument for that. If you guys didn't see that video, it was just yesterday. I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner. We did also get this news that Ripple did recently open a new office in Toronto. But we also know that they have offices all over the world. Singapore, very regulatory-friendly region of the world, as well as Great Britain. There's also a Ripple office there. So, I mean, you know, it is still up in the air. I don't actually think Ripple will move, to be honest with you. I think things will eventually get sorted out. As Francis Bovine Swift down here says, didn't they just lease a 130,000 square foot office in San Francisco? It would be a shame not to have that as the headquarters. So that was breaking news back a month ago or so, maybe a little longer now, a couple months ago, where Ripple did just lease a large office in San Francisco. So I think they have faith that they're going to come out of this gloriously and victoriously. I mean, spending $100 million on legal fees, you gotta have some of the best lawyers in the business, right? And just along the lines of the lawsuit, there were a few other lawsuits back in 2018 that were brought on against Ripple Labs. Now, we gotta remember, this was after the height of the last bull market, late 2017, early 2018. And this was brought to us by Tag XRP. Case dismissed. In May of 2018, Ryan Coffey sued Ripple for unregistered offer and sale of securities. In August of 2018, Ryan Coffey voluntarily dismisses without prejudice. maybe John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan can weigh in here as to why a voluntary dismissal. So some interesting facts here. Why would he voluntarily dismiss this? Here are just some screen grabs of the official court documents here. So these were small, petty lawsuits. I remember there was even one guy who was trying to sue Ripple because he invested something like $500 and he lost his money. And so he was trying to sue Ripple saying, well, you're the reason why I lost my money. XRP was supposed to go up. I had faith in you and I lost my investment, my $500. And I think that one got dismissed as well, if I'm not mistaken. Tag XRP also linking the link here to the securities class action docs. Wheezy here mentioning something interesting. Looking back at this case, it seems like it was dismissed because the courts would have had to conclude XRP was or was not a security, which, if you frame this in a 2022 light, is sounding more interesting now than it probably did then. If XRP was deemed a non-security or was deemed a security way back when, well, this whole SEC lawsuit versus Ripple today would not exist because we'd already have that clarity. So then it begs the question, how much of this XRP lawsuit was premeditated by the SEC? I know some of us in the XRP community are already thinking that that was the case, that they were planning on doing this eventually, and that obviously this lawsuit is being weaponized. Most likely was not, back to the Wheezy tweet here, most likely was not and would have messed up any future plans to sue Ripple. Knowing now that Coffee probably has this affiliation with Ethereum as well. So just looking at, what was his name again? Ryan Coffey? Yeah, Ryan Coffey's, LinkedIn profile. Senior Sales Executive, Enterprise Crypto Web3. So working with Web3, perhaps an affiliation with Ethereum. Tipsy Tiger down here saying, odd to voluntarily dismiss it so close to the end of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Maybe he has been following it and thinks there is no way it will be declared a security, and Andrew Zell has to remind him this was dismissed back in August of 2018. So years ago now. Tag XRP also bringing up the Zakanoff versus Ripple Labs lawsuit, and I believe that was the one where he invested $500 and was trying to sue Ripple because of his loss in investment, and Tyler Toomey versus Ripple Labs. That looks like they were consolidated in September of 2021. So there were a few over here, and a lot of these I don't think went through. Like they said, Micah XRP down here saying he didn't have a leg to stand on. So a lot of these were fairly petty. The Ryan Coffey one, though, interesting to note the connection with Web3. Wanted to thank Wheezy and Tag XRP for posting these, shining more light on the potential, dare I say, corruption, implicating the SEC, their connection with the Ethereum project, and so many of these players involved. And do you guys remember this from back in 2018? I ask you to listen what Brad Garlinghouse said in January of 2018 and now rethink if this SEC lawsuit is real or was it used as a weapon to slow down or even destroy Ripple. This brought to us by NVXRP1 on Twitter. Just listen to this quick clip of Brad, again from back in January of 2018. I think context is everything here. Listen to what he had to say.
We've seen pilots with, I think, 6 different payment providers. I have publicly said we expect this year for at least one bank to use XRP in their payment flows, to use XRapid.
Are you sticking to that this year?
100%.
Okay.
And the reason is, just to boil that down a little bit, it's faster, it's cheaper, and so a little bit like, why wouldn't someone use it? And to your point, I don't think JP Morgan Chase, they're one of the largest liquidity providers on the planet. Citibank's one of the largest liquidity providers on the planet. So do I think, for a dollar yen, dollar euro, no. But, look, if you go talk to a lot of banks around the world, they're paying Citibank for liquidity. They're paying JPM for liquidity. And if they can then use a product like XRapid to fund real-time liquidity into, let's say, the Philippines, into Brazil, that's a big shift for them in a very positive way.
So, Brad Garlinghouse mentioning back in January of 2018, the Citibanks and the JP Morgans of the world, those are the ones, these guys are the guys that are providing the liquidity for the smaller players. And this is why I think a lot of us in the XRP community had so much confidence in Ripple, because they were creating a better mousetrap way back when. Well, as soon as it started threatening their bottom line, they had to jump into action and enter the XRP versus Ripple lawsuit, which we are currently suffering through as XRP holders today. So another interesting perspective here. Wanted to thank NX here on Twitter for posting that. In other news, we've got Jed McCaleb's XRP Balance, and now it's less than 114 million XRP, guys. This brought to us by Michael at Val5 Links. According to data provided by Jed's Balance, a website dedicated to monitoring Jed McCaleb's XRP Balance, the Ripple co-founder and former CTO has now less than 114 million XRP left in his wallet. And for those of you guys who do not know what that website is, I'll link it here in the description of the video. Just an interactive chart here with his balance and the projected release amounts. And as you guys can see, if we go all the way over here, this is from the 25th, 103 million XRP are left in Jed's wallet. So all this is connected to the back end, monitoring the balance there. According to reports, Jed McCaleb began working at Ripple. Okay, so just giving us some background on Jed. As we know, let's see, down here, as of the time of this publication, it was at 110.8 million. He is anticipated to run out of it in 28, 26, or 30 days, depending on how quickly he sells this amount. The first option requires him to bump up to 3.7 million XRP every week. The second one necessitates selling 4 million XRP on average every month. And the third one is possible provided McCaleb sells 3.5 million XRP on average every 3 months. So those are the projected balances. Of course, we know that this is predicated on the volume of XRP. So basically, however XRP is trading, he's allowed to, and I don't know the exact formula, but he's allowed to trade, or rather sell, a percentage based on the volume activity of XRP trading hands. So that's interesting. I don't know if this is going to really have an effect on the price. I know some of us, though, in the XRP community have been paying close attention to Jed's Balance, so much so that somebody actually went out and created this website. Again, guys, this will be linked in the description of the video. So we'll see what happens. I mean, when it does run out, we will see if there is something that occurs. I highly doubt that it is going to affect price. There's so many other factors involved that obviously do affect XRP price, mainly the crypto market, really. Anyway, gonna keep moving, guys. This from the Aspen Institute, and I believe this was brought to me by Dodler for XRP. An interesting panel here with Brian Brooks from BitFury and Brooks Entwistle from Ripple.
Fluffy? Could this actually be a good thing? A sort of winnowing, if you will?
Well, it's when you talk about it in these terms, Elon, it's a little bit like asking questions of, are mortgage-backed securities the best driver of rising homeownership rates, or are they a risky asset that has the potential to tank the global economy? And the answer is yes. So the problem with talking about crypto in terms of asset values, I mean, you could begin by just saying after this giant crypto crash, Bitcoin has only outperformed the S&P 500 in the last 12 months by 5x instead of 30x. You could look at it like that. That would be one way of looking at it.
30x is better than 5x, though.
But 5x is a lot better than the S&P 500, and the next tent isn't having a panel about the future of U.S. equities. Right? So the point that I always try and tell people is, the biggest issue that I always try and focus on is cryptocurrencies are really not about currency. And the biggest misunderstanding of this whole discussion is the belief that if crypto is not doing a great job of replacing the U.S. dollar, then crypto is failing in its mission. And what I think we'll talk about a little bit today is the idea that most of crypto is about replacing the centralized banking system with networks that allow user control versus bank CEO control. The crypto assets that have prices are more like internet stocks. It's more like you bet on Google if you think there's going to be high internet traffic, and you short Google if you think people are going to go back to the post office, right? But it's not that Ethereum or Ripple or anything else is trying to replace the US dollar. It's trying to replace a system of transmitting value. And we'll talk a lot more about that. So for me, the prices are not that relevant any more than Google's volatility is. And in the early days of Google, that was super volatile.
So as per Brian Brooks, companies like Ripple are essentially building the rails for a new financial system. And this, guys, this is where we're going to see the true value being derived on the XRPL. So let's not forget Google. There was a lot of volatility with Google back in the day, as per Brian Brooks. I mean, I wasn't trading stocks back in the early 2000s, but I'll take his word for it. What happened to Google stock? Well, it eventually started performing like a blue chip company would perform. A lot of strong fundamentals for Google. This is Google's Alphabet Inc. stock here, but the chart only starts in and around 2015. As you guys know, Google has been a fundamentally strong stock over the last 2 decades. There was a lot of volatility in the early days, same with, pets.com, the Amazons of the world, eBay, all those other companies. But eventually, guys, the fundamentals of these stocks and time chose the winners and losers. And I wish I could hear what Brooks Entwistle has to add on to this point that Brian Brooks makes. There are companies like Ripple that are going to be changing the financial system and that are really going to drive value via XRP through the XRPL. This is what's going to bring demand to XRP and ultimately what is going to bring the price up. And for those of you guys who have not done it yet, just Google World Bridge Currency. I've done this a couple of times now over the years. And guess what it brings up? Currency XRP, Ripple's digital currency XRP. The digital currency XRP acts as a bridge currency to other currencies. It does not discriminate between any fiat or cryptocurrency, which makes it easy for any currency to be exchanged for another. So if you had any doubt, Google's at your fingertips. Brian Brooks also seems to think that these are the types of cryptos that are going to thrive in the new world of financial services. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.